Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fantasy Nuts UK NFL Fantasy Football Show live here on YouTube. Tonight, we're going to be doing one final best ball draft before the NFL kicks off tonight, early hours of the morning here in the UK. First and foremost, it's a dark day for the United Kingdom with Queen Elizabeth II passing away. And but we're gonna crack on. Hopefully, I'll get some of the people from the draft on with me tonight to talk about their draft and what they think is going to happen in the season and their predictions for tonight. And hopefully have some fun. Just get the draft board up on the screen as well. We're ready to start pretty much, I think. 18 people in here. It should be on 3-round reversal as well. So me and 17 other drafting degenerates can't get enough. It's 60 seconds per pick. Just open the draft from there. And we are go. So Chris Budge, who's been in lots of best balls this year as well, up first takes Jonathan Taylor. No real surprise there with it being 1 QB. Andy Davis, he's got his podcast Euro Trips. I was on there a couple weeks ago now talking about the Vikings. He's gone Derek Henry. So this is PPR as well. Got to take Eckler at 104. He's a PPR god with his pass catching upside. He's legitimately, for me, one of two people this season who could get 1,000 yards through the air as well as 1,000 yards on the ground. He had over 200 carries last season as well, which was his most so far in his career, but still not enough to be burning him out, especially after 2020 where he missed 6 games, I believe. And there's a bit of a wide receiver run just started on the 106 there. Cup, Jefferson and Chase, which has pretty much been the norm all year. Ooh. We are at 112, which is Gibbo. Let's get this draft room back open for you all to see what's happening. Gibbo's got Alvin Kamara there. Kamara's another great one for PPR leagues with his pass catching upside. Bren and Nate, the two 5-yard rush IDP podcast hosts right next to each other there. Bren's gone Nick Chubb. Let's see where Nate goes. If he's about. So Nate has auto-picked Aaron Jones there. I'm sure he'll join in as soon as he remembers. Monday on the turn at 118 and 201. First tight end gone. This isn't tight end premium or anything like that. But Monday's gone Travis Kelce and Deebo Samuel there. Second tight end gone Mark Andrews. CD Lamb, the auto pick there for Nate. Monday said they were panic picks. He didn't think it would get there that quick. Yeah, the wide receivers are starting to go now. Rightly so, being PPR. It's a big draft as well. Being Bestball, it'll be interesting to see who pulls a trigger at quarterback. And there we go, Josh Allen to go with Diggs for a stack for kill. Trying to see if anybody's going to jump on for 5-10 minutes or so. Keenan Allen joining Cooper Kupp. I think Keenan Allen will have a great year as well. Obviously, Mike Williams is there. He's been paid too. And I am on the clock. So I'm taking Michael Pittman. He's going to be the best quarterback he's had in his NFL career so far. He had a decent year last year. He finished up as the PPR wide receiver 17 with Carson Wentz throwing him the ball. Now he's got Matt Ryan, much better game manager, much more accurate. Primed for a big season, I think, in Indianapolis. Plus, he's not really got no competition for targets. He had 129 targets last year. I think he'll eclipse that. And we are back to the other end now. Draft board's gone again. Back on Monday. why we're just waiting for the draft board to load again. Monday's gone Waddle. Stevie Pardo's added DJ Moore to Barkley and Mark Andrews, and we are back with that. Let's get back down here so you can see that. So it's on Bren. George Kittle now questionable for this weekend. Darren Waller obviously missed a lot of practice as well. Lord Mustard is on the clock. And I will be joined very shortly by Andy Davis, who, well, I'll let him tell you about what he's going to be up to this season. I've just picked Dalton Schultz there. Only really CD Lamb in front of him in terms of targets now in Dallas. Now Amari Cooper's gone. So at the end of this, it will be Chris Budge on the turn. So they'll get 2 picks on the trot now. The 3rd round reversal's done. Hopefully Andy jumps back on. Can get his thoughts for how this is going. It's a bit of chaos. 18-team best ball. Chris Budge's 2nd pick, Michael Thomas. Coming back after missing a couple of years, MT, be interesting to see how he goes this year. He's dealing with a slight issue at the moment as well, I think. And it's me on the clock again. Possibly missing week 1, but you've got to go Chris Godwin there. The size of the league. To get Godwin in the 4th. Amongst the sort of players that are still on the board, like Marquise Brown's just gone the pick after, but you've got Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, Monra St. Brown, Juju, Phelan, Darnell Mooney. I think Godwin comfortably scores more points than them, all of them this year. Like I said, probably won't play week 1, but yeah, week 2 onwards should be good to go. So let's have a look with this being best ball now. Obviously, we mentioned the 1 stack there that Kill made in round 1 and 2. Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. And I'm looking now, and there's no other stacks with the quarterbacks that have gone. Andy is back, so we're going to get him on now and let him tell you a bit about his adventures this NFL season, what he's got planned.
Hello,
Andy,
hi there.
great to have you on, mate.
Yeah, nice to be on too. Nice to have you on live during the draft, which probably adds a lot of stress to the occasion if you're on a web call as well. Yeah, I don't think I've been on a draft before where it's been this quick a pick, so I'm finding it a very new experience.
I think we done that one with Murph and Dan, and I think we both jumped on briefly there, which was like 10
Yes.
seconds per pick.
Yeah,
And
that was nuts. I think I also picked some kickers in like the third round. It was like actually balmy. It was
yeah, I literally auto picked on that one as I was joining the stream as well. So that was that was chaos.
yeah.
But yeah, tell everyone about yourself, mate, and what you got planned this year.
So my name's Andy, as you might know. I'm from Wales, but I live in Brighton, albeit until tomorrow morning. I'm a Dolphins fan, and I'm as of the 24th of this month, I will be setting upon a 3-month long trip around America, going to 21 different NFL games along the way.
It's absolutely amazing, and I'm in awe. You're going to see some great stadiums, some other great sites, and hopefully some great football.
Yeah.
You've done a little bit of fantasy football writing for 5 Yard Rush as well this off season,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, how do you think your draft's going so far?
I think it's okay. I got so far. I've got Derrick Henry. That one I panicked on. I was trying to pick Austin Eckler, but I didn't get enough time, so I picked Henry. I've got McLaurin, Brooke Cooks, and Elijah Mitchell. I'm getting a quarterback next, I think, depending on who's left, because I need someone soon. Just trying to think who I can pick. I've got to pick, I think, quite soon after that with the snake draft the way it is. I think I'm only got to me and then Chris for 2 picks, and then back to me again. So I think I'm lining up a quarterback, at least one of these 2 picks, and then probably either a tight end or a running back or wide receiver, sort of, as well. So I think it depends on who the next 5, 6 people take. So I'm looking forward to seeing who they get.
So yeah, 4 of the next 5 have already gone quarterback. Being a one QB league, you wouldn't usually, I suppose, take one this early, but because there's 18 teams, you want to get one of sort of the top 12 to 15 that have that upside of finishing as a QB1. Albeit this is Bestball and not a managed league, so you could be looking for stacks and whatever else. But yeah, it's certainly interesting to see people's strategies, or if they're just me personally, I'm just playing the board.
Yeah, I don't really have any strategy. I think my one strategy I have really in fantasy is I don't think rookies in redrafts really, unless they're like an absolute dead cert. I tend to avoid rookies in a redraft unless someone becomes available and is dropped by a lot. It's your pick now, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, that's
Damien Harris. Okay.
I've took my second running back there. I think it was about time before they kind of fall off a cliff as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's interesting to do these different sort of drafts and to test different things out and values as well, I think. But what's your prediction for tonight? Well, early hours of the morning.
So I'm going to try and... Oh, is it Rodgers or Dak? Rodgers or Dak? Oh, God. I'm going to go for Dak just because of the mobility. Oh, God, that was it's so stressful with just 30 seconds. It's like, it's horrendously difficult to pick someone. I've still got a pick in about 2 lots time.
And Chris has doubled down at quarterback as well.
Where it gets interesting. And I'm going to go for TJ Hawkinson. There we are. Oh, I can relax for a bit now.
you can breathe for a few minutes now, yeah.
In terms of tonight, I actually think the Rams are going to win. I know the majority are saying the Bills, but I just think, I don't know, I think the first week is always quite misleading. I think we saw the Steelers beat the Bills last year. I think the Saints beat the Buccaneers a couple of years ago, both times, and that week 1 especially. So I tend to take small notice of the first week, but I think the Rams are going to win because I think just the home advantage, they're going to be doing the banner after the winning the Super Bowl. and I think they're going to be up for it. So I think the Rams are going to edge it. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a very high scoring one as well.
So yeah, I jumped on a show with Dan Hughes, who hosts the 5 Yard flagship show, and jumped on his other pod in the week, and I was the only one out of the four of us that predicted the Rams to win. They all went for the Bills, and for similar reasons, really. I feel like it's going to be a bit of a shootout, a very high scoring game, and
I think my door's
yeah,
just gone.
kind of like
Sorry. Someone's come my door. I'm back in a second.
no
Sorry.
worries. So yeah, people starting to take their second quarterbacks now. We've seen Chris on the turn take Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins, and then someone there at 6:09 has took Aaron Rodgers to go with Lamar Jackson.
Apologies about that.
No worries at all, mate. It just says people are starting to take their second quarterback now.
Oh wow! Yeah, someone's taken Rodgers.
Rodgers to go with Lamar, and then you had Chris on the turn. He doubled down.
Right. Okay.
I mean, yeah, with 18 people, I see the sense in it some ways, because some people are going to end up with only one starter.
Yeah. It's going to be. I mean, thank God it's not one of those leagues where it's, you can have two quarterbacks in the same starting lineup. That would have been pure chaos if it was the two quarterback league, or if it was one quarterback in the flex. So made it a bit easier, because unless injury happens, that one quarterback you got spared only needed really for 1 week.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, another way we could have done it, I suppose, was drop the quarterback spot and just use Superflex. But then I feel that made it a bit easier, because you don't necessarily need a quarterback at all.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
tough now as well.
Who is some of your guys this season for fantasy football? Who have you put all your eggs in one basket on?
Players wise, I always, if I see, obviously the main running backs, if I'm in the top 8 I pick, so I tend to pick one of the standard ones. Derrick Henry's been a regular one for me. I've had him for the last couple of years. He's always delivered for me. Cooper Kupp is one if he's available, but I tend to take him because I've had him 2 years now and he's been the man every time. Kicker has been Brandon McManus in most leagues. He's been my main kicker I've picked. Tight end's a bit of a weird one, because it always seems to be, if it's not Andrews or Kelsey available, I tend to wait until the later rounds. And then late round running backs, Stevenson's one for the Patriots. I like him. Same as Rashad Penny. They're two people I pick up if it gets to the towards the late rounds. But apart from that, it tends to be just, again, by the board. Mike Evans has been a regular one this year. I've had him in a few leagues. And yeah, no real strategy in terms of that. It just tends to be who's available at the time, really, going for my gut almost half the time.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that everybody has their price, and when there's value to be had, you got to snap it up with both hands. Just have a little look through the draft board, see some tight ends going off this round. Albert O, Dawson Knox playing tonight, of course. Komet, Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry, of course. I didn't think he's been someone I've taken in loads. Why did I not take him? I
mean, he's gone a lot earlier than usual, of course, because 18 teams. But I think he has another solid season. Him and Dawson Knox. That the usage in the red zone where it's man to man, they tend to be favoured by their quarterbacks. For instance, when Diggs is double covered, don't know if we'll see that tonight. Maybe a Dawson Knox touchdown. Right, I need a quarterback now. I've waited far enough, and I'm gonna put Matt Ryan right in there with Michael Pittman.
Matt Ryan, okay.
I love that pairing this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's great for both of them. Where Matt Ryan had, he had Pitts, but Russell Gage last year, sort of since Ridley's been out, Pittman's the best he's had since Calvin Ridley, I'd say.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of them two this year.
Taking mine. That was a tough choice because it feels weird that it's early on in the draft these players being available, but it's going to be a thing like that now for the rest of the draft. It's just going to be real slim pickings.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're heading into round 8. We've still got 6 more rounds to go after.
Mm.
It's going to be interesting by the time we're in kind of like round 13, 14, and see who's coming off the board then. I think it's just going to be a bit of a crapshoot, to be honest, by the time we're hitting those times.
Yeah, I think my next one's going to be a bit of a chancer, I think.
Being Bestball, you can shoot for the upside completely, though, can't you, as well?
Yeah, I mean, who do I go for here? I'm going to take the risk because I think this guy could be good, but I think he could also be very washed. Going to go for a man I think Brady's going to love throwing to if he does throw to him.
Yeah, Rob
Julio Jones.
Gronkowski gone as well.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown out of town. It's obviously Godwin as well. Probably won't play this weekend.
Yeah, that's true. That's true as
So
well.
I think Russell Gage was questionable too. So it's fire up Julio and see what happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is me now, and I'm gonna go Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I'm surprised he was still there. I mean, I know there's obviously doubts about Flacco or Wilson, and I think maybe that's why he's still there. But I'm surprised he lasted so long, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think he's out of all the rookies, I think he's one of the safer bets this year. It's more of a gut feeling, I think, than anything. I think it was a decent landing spot. I know you got Elijah Moore there, but Zach Wilson has to come up trumps this year for the Jets. Otherwise, he could be seeing the door shortly as well.
Yeah.
But Irv Smith just gone as well. Tight ends are flying off. Before Mike Gesicki, though, what's your thoughts on Mike Gesicki this season? Now Tyreek's arrived in town, and
it's going to be interesting because obviously he's actually my favorite player, and I think that he's been great for us. But I do think that I don't know how he's going to do in terms of. It looks like McDaniel's going to have him more in a blocking tight end sort of role, which isn't really his best sort of trait. I don't know whether he's worked on that in the off season or in training camp. But I think that, I mean, I love him personally, but I just don't know whether he's going to adapt to the new system because obviously he's going to have to block a lot more if he's going to go by, what he does with George Kittle in the past with the 49ers with McDaniel. So, well, he's just gone, actually, speak of the devil. And yeah, I just don't know whether.
Come on.
I think he will do well because I think he is someone that he's got a great ability to catch, and I think that will bode well. But I don't think we'll see him quite as often. I think he will use maybe other tight ends like their names are passing by completely now. Adam Shaheen or actually the other one passed me by. But I think we may use other tight ends more often. Durham Smythe maybe in a blocking role, and then use him in the passing catch role, maybe just in less frequent spells than we did under Flores.
So yeah, I mean, this pre-season he's played a lot more snaps in line than in the slot, and he's run less routes as well. So it's almost like the door's open for Tyreek to take a good chunk of his sort of volume there. But
yeah,
early days, and we'll see what happens for sure.
You think of last year, of course, it was just Devontae Parker and Jalen Waddle and then Gesicki. I think Gesicki was our second best receiver last year, but I think now we've got obviously Cedric Wilson, Tyreek Hill as well as Waddle. I think that may not help him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think of the Dolphins' chances this season? Let's start with week 1. What's your prediction for week 1?
I think we're going to win that. I think the Patriots will do well, but I think we'll just edge that game, especially in Miami as well. Belichick's always sort of struggled against us in Miami more than New England. So I think we'll win that. I think that whilst they had a good season last year, I think there's not really been many to upgrade in the offense apart from Devontae Parker, who I know full well can't stay on the field for more than 5 games at a time. So whereas we've obviously added loads of weapons, and I think it's going to be a feel-good factor in the stadium, which we haven't had for a few years. I think we will, the fans will be up for it. Tyreek Hill will be up for it, and I think that'll be the difference. I think Tyreek Hill's just going to smash out the park and just going to get yard after yard after yard and get a few touchdowns along the way. So I'm going to go for a 28-17 win.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
Comfortable 28-17. Not no one-score games. Brilliant. No. I'm really interested to see if Tyreek is utilised in the running game at all.
Mm-hmm.
And how your running game is going to work full stop, really. I mean, with Tyreek and Raheem Mostert there, if Mostert stays healthy, because there's so many people there, it's more of a committee. You got two of the fastest players in the NFL, and it's going to be exciting to watch, definitely.
Yeah, I think it'd be the most exciting sort of team we've had in a while. I think that getting Chase Edmonds as well, Raheem Mostert, Myles Gaskin as your third back, I think there'd be a lot of. We saw in the 49ers when he was there as the OC, McDaniel, he liked to use the run option a lot. He liked to often run with the ball when they use that sort of. You saw with Deebo Samuel last year, of course. He had a great success in the running game as well as the catching game. So I think we'll see a lot of that, and also we'll see a lot of short balls from Tua to then find Jalen Waddle or Tyreek. I think that'll be where Tua will succeed. I don't think he'll need to have a deep ball. I think he can just throw it short to Tyreek or Jalen, and they can just run it to the house like you saw last year with Tyreek Hill with the Chiefs. So I think we'll see a lot of those kind of plays rather than deep balls that everyone thinks we're going to do, or Tyreek Hill was used to with Mahomes. So I think that is the main screen passes or jet sweeps. I think that's going to be our sort of main kind of plays rather than these deep balls you saw Mahomes throw to Hill over the last few years.
Absolutely. Andy, it's been great having you on, mate.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, brilliant. And I wish you all the best for your trip. And you said you was moving house, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, have a great time, mate. Have a good season. And if you're staying up tonight, enjoy it. If not, I'm sure you'll catch it tomorrow or whenever. But no, thanks for coming on, Andy, mate.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me on.
See you later.
See you later.
Right, and then it is me on the clock now. Quarterback has really dried up as expected. I'm going to take Davis Mills, pretty much the last starter left maybe, instead of Geno Smith, Jacoby Brissett. Let's have a little look through. So Monday took two quarterbacks on the turn as well, Daniel Jones and Jared Goff. Purbal's just said in the chat he low-key hates his team already. So that's a good start. Monday's also stacked Jones with Tony there. Andy's just come onto the clock there. Russell stacked with Albert O by Bren. I found it quite hard to stack with, well, I did get the one, but it's obviously not as important because it's not a big tournament as such. But it's still bestball. Still could be beneficial. Kill's obviously got that prime Buffalo stack there. Most people have gone two quarterbacks now. Isaiah Pacheco. Jamal Williams, Zamir White. Yeah, it's really shooting for the stars now. Those guys who could break out, win you your leagues, they're the sort of guys that are left. And why not? Here's a guy I really like. Khalil Herbert. Chicago Bears, obviously, they're not in the best situation this season. Herbert has only got David Montgomery in front of him. Montgomery's only really led that backfield for so long, I believe, because there was not much else. Herbert is talented. When he filled in for Montgomery last year, he was more than adequate. I believe he could win that job if Montgomery don't lose it himself, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So weeks 5, 6, 7, and 8. Well, week 6 and 7 mostly. He had 19.2 and 18.3 fantasy points, 97 yards and 100 yards. He caught 5 from 5 in week 7 as well for another 33 yards. Yeah, I like him. The upside's definitely there. The job's definitely winnable, I think. Just move this over. Isaiah McKenzie there playing tonight. So let's have 2 of my buddies from my group chat there, Kill and Gibbo. So Gibbo's gone double RB to start. Obviously, Kill got the Buffalo stack. Sounds a bit like a burger, the Buffalo stack. And then his RB1 was J.K. Dobbins in the 4th. Might not play week 1. He doubled down in round 7 and 8 with Henderson and Mattison, who are both backups. Obviously, not being a managed league, he doesn't have to make the call whether to start Henderson tonight or not. But he could put up some decent points. I don't feel like it's going to be a very run-heavy game, though, tonight. I think it, like I said when Andy was on, it'll be more of a shootout, I believe. Kills took Deshaun Watson there, so I imagine he'll be just winging it at quarterback for that 1 week when Josh Allen's on bye in week 7. Whereas Gibbo's gone more balanced and he's took 2 quarterbacks who are actually going to play this year. Zach Ertz as well, so I imagine Gibbo will be targeting another tight end as Ertz might not play this week as well. Few injuries coming up the back end of this week or the middle of this week, putting week 1 in doubt for a few people. Monday on the turn, taking Taysom Hill. That's one player I didn't think would be picked at all. The sort of hype of Taysom Hill was completely bottomed out the last couple months. I've seen him being picked a little while ago, especially in like the DraftKings Bestballs and things like that, but less so lately. Gibbo is on the clock, and yet Austin Hooper. It's a good pickup as well. You know, if Ertz doesn't play this week, Tennessee are playing the New York Giants, so they're not great against tight ends either. So Hooper could score a bucket load of points for him. That's it. You should be able to see that a little bit better now. Let's wait and see if anyone else is going to jump on for 5-10 minutes or so. Mark Dobinson probably completely disagrees with what Andy was saying about the Dolphins and Patriots, as will Ant. A couple of Patriots fans in this one. Just over halfway through the 11th round. Kenyon Drake. He was going in the first round in 2020 and he's just completely fell off a cliff. I'm not even sure he'll have much value at the start of the year. Probably behind Mike Davis, even if J.K. Dobbins doesn't play. So after Alec Pierce, another Indianapolis player. See how the rookie gets on. He was good downfield for the Bearcats, had a good connection with Desmond Ridder. So all upside pick, that one. Cameron Brate, I think that's a great pick late on. He's obviously going to be taking some of the vacated targets that Rob Gronkowski's left behind. Brady said something in an interview today like, you know, there's a lot of people there that are going to be used or something along those lines. And it's big cleats to fill, definitely, but the opportunity is there for Cam Brate, without a doubt. And for that same reason, I'm going to take Kyle Rudolph. I think neither of them might not be fantasy relevant this year, Brate or Rudolph. But if one of them was to be a little bit more, possibly Rudolph. You know, he's a big body in the end zone. He had a few tight end one seasons for Minnesota. And of course, the Minnesota connection. I did like Kyle Rudolph. I was a fan when he was in Minnesota. So I'll take him as my backup tight end. This late on, it's not too bad, I suppose. We have Lord Mustard on the clock now. Just looking at his team. He grabbed Aaron Rodgers as his backup quarterback in the 6th round. Running backs, he's got Cook, Pollard, Hines, Hilliard, and Spiller. Hilliard ain't a bad one if Henry gets hurt again. He hasn't got any value other than that, I don't think. We are in the depths of the draft now. Hopefully be able to get something lined up for next week or maybe the week after. Get some of the other guys from the Fantasy Nuts group chat on. Talk about how the season's going and try and make this a little bit of a regular thing. But yeah, just a best ball draft to kick things off. And there does go Mike Davis there. I think that's not a bad pick this late on as well. Let's have a look at his other running backs. Damian Pierce. Kenneth, he's got a tough matchup, Damian Pierce, this week. Kenneth Walker might not play this weekend. Mostert, who me and Andy touched on in Miami. And then he's got Darrell Williams and Mike Davis there. Isaiah Likely, so Stevie Pardo has got Andrews and Likely. Monday on the turn. This is his penultimate pick. Jameson Crowder. Let's see what he can do tonight. I think Isaiah McKenzie is the named slot receiver for Buffalo. So whether Crowder will hold much weight this season, who knows? Daniel Bellinger from Nate. Tight end one in New York. He's a rookie. Obviously, them breakouts are rare for rookies. See how he gets on this season. Brian Edwards there for Gibbo. Possible to get a bit of volume there in Atlanta. Obviously, the quarterback situation isn't the best. Like I say, at this stage of the draft, it's just a case of shooting for upside, definitely. Corey Davis is a nice pick. Just move the board over. As we are approaching the 14th and final round. Will someone pick up Rob Gronkowski? Sony Michel gone there. Folksy. Plays a lot of best ball as well. As you could probably tell by his team. He's got Chase, Pitts, Deontay Johnson, Kyler Murray, Devonta Smith before taking a running back, and he's got the rookie James Cook, Melvin Gordon. Could still hold a bit of value there in Denver. Then he's gone Jameis Winston for his backup, Rashad White, before taking tight end 2, David Njoku. I think that's a great pickup for his second tight end there. Definitely upside. Jalen Tolbert, AJ Green, Sony Michel.
Come on!
Don't know what has happened there. It says CPU auto pick Devin Duvernay. That was ages ago. Dobbo's clock ran out anyway, so push that through. He's got Marlon Mack. It's bad luck. Gronkowski could well be the next auto pick. And it is me up again. I'm going Boston Scott. Who knows what the Philadelphia Eagles run game is going to be? They've brought in Trey Sermon as well. I'm not sure if he's been elevated from the practice squad yet. Boston Scott could get some goal line work, touchdowns. Who knows? Miles Sanders seems to get the hard yards in. Gainwell for the pass catching. They don't care about fantasy football in Philly. Entering the last round now, Chris Budge on the clock. First pick of the 14th. Zay Jones got paid by Jacksonville. Ain't a bad pick this late on, I don't think. Andy on the clock for his final pick. And he did. He took Rob Gronkowski. I was wondering if someone would just take the punt, seeing if Tampa are struggling a little bit, and he just goes. Tom makes a call to his friend, maybe. Says, "Hey, come and help us out for a little bit." My final pick, I'm taking Braxton Berrios. So I've got 2 Jets wide receivers and 2 Indianapolis wide receivers, and then Chris Godwin and Brandon Ayuk. I've got Kyle Rudolph and Dalton Schultz, Matt Ryan and Davis Mills as my tight ends and quarterbacks. Then we've got Boston Scott, Khalil Herbert, Damian Harris, and Austin Eckler. See where Ant goes. He's my BFFL rival, the Medway Tigers. Byron Pringle, Jalen Rager, now at Minnesota. Picked by a Minnesota fan there as well. Don't think Mark Robinson's about 15 seconds left on the clock. See, yeah, like I touched on it earlier, my prediction for tonight is the LA Rams. I think they'll be a bit too stubborn to go and lose on home turf. Super Bowl champs. The Bills seem to be slated as the team that's got it all, and I've seen a few posts on Twitter today, interesting ones actually, and seems like people aren't as all in on the Bills all of a sudden anymore. It should be a great game to open the season. We wouldn't have cared if it was the Giants against the Jets. I don't think anybody would have cared, but yeah, it's a great season opener tonight. Gibbo on the clock for his last pick. Chris Evans, Adam Trautman, Hassan Haskins, Kez Watkins, Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren, the backup in Pittsburgh. Trey Sermon, it ain't a bad shout. Definitely an upside play if one of those guys in Philly gets hurt or he earns his way into the squad. He was highly touted when he was coming out. And then Monday on the clock for Mr. Irrelevant. Is it going to be an auto pick? But anyway, if you've tuned in or you're watching the replay, thank you. Keep an eye on our Twitter, Fantasy Knuts UK. You've seen it in the video at the start of this stream. Keep an eye out there. I'll be retweeting it from my personal account, which you can see on screen as well. If I just switch it to that, you'll be able to see it better. That is the draft finished for tonight. But keep an eye out on Twitter for any future shows we do. Hopefully I get a few people with me next time. But yeah, thanks for tuning in.